Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Cece Conover, and today what we're going to cover are two topics. We've blended them into one presentation for tonight. It's two topics that do tie well together. One is job boards and making them work for you, and the other is finding the hidden job market. And we'll talk about what a hidden job market is and then how to tap into it. Because there are a lot of places to look for a job, a lot of ways to look for a job. As I've said 100 times before, looking for a job is a lot of work. It's basically a full-time job. And so part of this presentation, we'll talk about ways to make yourself more efficient in your job search. And so that you're not wasting time needlessly, but being more efficient and trying to tap into as many sources as possible. Because when you can cast your net pretty widely across multiple venues, then that's going to increase your likelihood of being able to find a job. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to cover tonight, and I'm pretty excited about them. As you can see from the top left-hand corner of the PowerPoint, we've got the Next Job logo up there. So the full PowerPoint presentation for making job boards work for you and the full PowerPoint on finding the hidden job market, both those can be found on Next Job's website. And the last page of this PowerPoint will have the access codes that you can get to this website for free and get more materials. So these PowerPoints are just one component of that website. There's a lot of information, a lot of resources out there. And so take advantage of that. I don't know that I've found any resource quite as broad in terms of helping job seekers look for a job. And it's awesome that it's available for free for clients for Dress for Success. So take advantage of it. Okay, so the agenda. We're going to talk about the elements of an online job search. It goes way past job boards, and I'll explain what job boards are and aggregators and social media and all that. We'll talk about leveraging those online sites and job boards. As I mentioned, we'll talk about finding those hidden job markets, what they are and how to tap into them. And then also effectively using networking strategies because it's a lot of getting your name out there and making sure that a lot of people know that you're looking for a job and enlisting their help in helping you find a job. So, okay, employer search method. So some statistics indicate that only 42% of online postings are advertised and filled. And that's a kind of an eye-opening statistic. So how are all the jobs getting filled if only 42% are advertised and filled? So there's other ways that jobs are getting filled, and we'll talk about that as we go through this presentation. On average, 85% of recruiters and hiring managers surveyed reported using social networks to find and communicate with potential employers. And that's a pretty high number. And so what that says to me is if you're not particularly on LinkedIn, you're missing out on an opportunity to connect with recruiters and hiring managers through that venue. So it is a really powerful tool, particularly for those that are looking for a job. And recruiters know that it's a nice way to connect with candidates. And we'll talk a little bit more about why they might use that venue versus posting jobs online. 91% of organizations reported using social networks to check out candidates. I've mentioned in several of my presentations in the past that recruiters are going to try and do their best to find out the most about you. Making a hiring decision is a pretty tricky decision, and we're trying to get a lot of information in order to better understand the entire person that we're hiring. And so we often will do that by looking at a candidate's social media sites. So be aware of that. And if you are on social media, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, if you're on any of those social media platforms, make sure that they are work appropriate and that if recruiters are going to go to those sites and look you up, that you feel comfortable about what the type of information is that you have out there. If you use your social media sites for purely personal purposes and you don't want recruiters to be able to access them, then make sure to look at the security and the privacy settings on those social media sites and make them private so that they are not accessed. But what I'm going to talk to you about too on social media piece of it is it could be a good way to help with your personal brand and also help you with your job search. So I would advocate that particularly on LinkedIn anyway, you would want to make it public and maybe even Facebook, maybe even Twitter. And we'll talk about some reasons why that might be a good thing for you to do. Online job searching involves several aspects. Personal branding that I just touched on, and personal SEO, search engine optimization. We'll talk about when we get to some specific screenshots for some specific pages of ways to optimize your time on some of these job boards, because they can truly be a rabbit hole. If you take, for instance, Indeed, and you type in a job search in a certain way, you might come up with thousands of job openings, and that's overwhelming to have to go through each and every one of them to determine which one really meets your criteria. So we're going to talk about ways to really clarify what your criteria is, put that into the websites themselves so that you're only getting things that are going to meet your criteria and reduce the amount of clutter that you're going to have to go through. Personal branding talks about more than just your resume. Back in the old days, that was all we had in order to tell a recruiter or hiring manager about ourselves was a resume. Today, it is far more than that, and it does get into social media. And so you have to think about that total view of yourself, that total branding perspective. And so if you are looking for a job, let's say into healthcare, and you have something on LinkedIn, then you might want to consider liking or posting articles or materials that refer to healthcare, and that demonstrates your interest in the field, that you're staying current with what is happening in that field, and that you're active. So, and then linking with other people who are in that field. So it becomes a more comprehensive approach to making sure that your personal brand is speaking to who you are on a professional level. Variety in how you apply. So again, if you only use Indeed, then that's what you can do, and that's all you have time for, then that's fine. But if you use a variety of ways to look for a job, it helps you to cast that net wider, and hopefully helps you to tap into other options that are out there that you may not even see on Indeed. LinkedIn, like I said, is one way to do that, but your public profiles, your portfolios, your videos, any of that kind of stuff that you're posting on social media can grab the attention of someone who may be interested in you in a job in the future. Ongoing visibility, again, so showcasing your credibility and interest through public profiles. Right now, if you went to my LinkedIn page or a recruiter went to my LinkedIn page, they would probably think I was dead. I have not done much on LinkedIn in a very long time. And it's just a choice I've made. However, if I decide I need to get back into the job market, that would be the first place I would go. I would go to my LinkedIn page before I'd even start working on my resume. I would go to my LinkedIn page, update it, make sure it's current and fresh, and start thinking about things that I need to put on my LinkedIn page to show my level of knowledge of human resources, as well as my currency and proficiency with human resources, because right now it does not demonstrate that whatsoever. So think about that and how that reflects on you. Mobile job searching, we'll talk about some tools and strategies there. Social recruiting, this talks about building the relationships and getting yourself out there and managing those relationships, and we'll talk about that. And then social networking, getting connected with people and doing that whole networking thing that some people find challenging to do, as well as staying connected, and we'll talk about that as well. So that's all part of it. So it may feel a little overwhelming when you see this list of things to do as you're looking for a job, but it really does speak to the comprehensiveness of looking for a job and the completeness of it. Okay. Online job search includes accessing job boards, using social networks, looking at company websites, accessing databases and online search engines, and job searching apps. So it really does go, as I said, far beyond going on to Indeed. Using Facebook, Facebook has a job leads page on it. Well, I have a screenshot of that I can show you. LinkedIn obviously is one place as well. Social networks also goes past that and touches into talent communities. So if you're looking into getting into a profession where there is a professional association, so for me, it's human resources. There are local chapters, there are state chapters, there are national chapters. There are some that are specific to public sector. There are some that are for any sector of work. So getting in touch with those social networks and getting in touch with those professional associations, they have their own job listings, but they also have lots of folks in the industry that I could connect with to say, I'm looking for a job. I'd like to get back into public sector, human resources. And if you hear of any openings, can you please let me know? And so you're developing relationships, fostering relationships, and cultivating that. Then we've talked about before in some other PowerPoint presentations about accessing company websites. One of the reasons that you do that is you come up with a list of employers that you would like to work for. And this is where you become much more strategic in your search. So you think about who are your top 10, 20 employers that you would like to work for. What is it about those companies that attracts you to them? Maybe you've known someone who's worked there, you've heard news stories about them, there's something about them that is appealing to you. So do your due diligence and go to those company websites, find out more about them, and then you may be able to tap into some hidden information and hidden job boards that we'll talk about in a little bit. But if on their websites they're talking about a future expansion, then that should suggest to you that there may be openings with their organization as that expansion happens. So getting onto websites, to company websites specifically, to get to know that organization more, to plug into some of the people who may make hiring decisions. And then they may also have their own online community for putting job interest cards out so that you can be notified when they have job openings. Okay, aggregators. So Indeed is probably one of the best known aggregator. And what an aggregator is, they go out and they gather job openings from a lot of sites and then put them on their own site. I have personal experience with this with City of Fishers. Our job openings popped up on Indeed all the time. And I was a little baffled by it at first because I knew we weren't paying Indeed to list our job. But what I found out was that as an aggregator, that's what they're doing. They want to be the best bang for the buck for candidates to go to their site. So kind of one of those, if you build it, they will come. So they have really built themselves as being one of the biggest online job presence for job openings. Now, I will say too, Indeed would contact us to list our openings and charge us a fee. If we did that, then they would preference our openings, market them a little bit more heavily, and that kind of thing. But not doing anything on our side, our job openings appeared there, and we would get candidates who would see our job on Indeed. So aggregators are getting job ads from a lot of places. And I tell candidates often, if you only have time to go to one website, Indeed probably is your best bet. So that's kind of that in a nutshell on how aggregators work. So I did a quick little research to see how job boards are ranked. And this from the Balance Careers website in September listed the different job boards and ranked them for us, which was kind of nice. So as I said, Indeed's right there at the top, best overall. Monster is runner-up, and that's runner-up for best overall, which is kind of humorous to me in one way. Monster back in the day was known as the job board, and but they don't do the aggregating like Indeed does. You have to pay to list a job there as an employer, and they're pretty expensive. And so that's probably why they're runner-up, because they don't have as many listings as Indeed. And I typically view Monster as more of a site for international jobs and more techie jobs, but that's not necessarily true. So anyway, just my 2 cents on Monster. Glassdoor is a really good website if you're looking for employer insights. And what Glassdoor is like a review site. It's kind of like Angie's List. So people who have worked or currently work for an employer can go to Glassdoor to leave a review about the employer. I always put a caveat in there though. People who place comments on Glassdoor can tend to be more negative. So just understand that the people who are angry or irritated or spiteful might be the ones who are going to go to Glassdoor to list a review. So it may tend to look a little more negative than what it actually is. If you're looking for a work from home job or a remote job, something that you want to do from wherever you live, Flex Jobs is a nice website for that purpose. So that might be a place to check out if you haven't been on that website. If you've had previous managerial experience, the ladders is one of the well-known ones for people who have managerial experience to look for jobs. If you love the idea of getting in early with a brand new startup company, the best one for that would be AngelList. They have been noted as the best one for startup jobs. Some people get a thrill and a charge out of being part of something that's fresh and new and growing, so that might be a place to check out. LinkedIn is great for particularly connecting directly with recruiters. Occasionally recruiters will seek out candidates and contact them directly through LinkedIn, but it's also a good way for you to connect with recruiters to find out what's going on with their organization and applying for jobs. Link Up is a good one for up-to-date listings. This is one I had not heard of before, but that's another one to possibly check out to see if that might be something that has some listings that could appeal to you. Scouted is best for recent college graduates, and Snag a Job is best for hourly jobs. So nice list there. And like I said, there's a couple on there I hadn't heard of before, and maybe some of those will appeal to you and you can check them out as well. Okay, so using job boards. Hopefully this is new information to you, but I think this is really good just to walk through this a little bit. If you go on Indeed and you type in what production manager in Chicago, this particular example shows you that just typing in those two things will generate over 3,000 results. And all I can say is, holy cow, that's a lot of results. And so that would take you a lot of time to scroll through 3,200 results to see which ones really do meet all your specific criteria. If, however, you type in title, colon, and put production manager in quotation marks, then you get that down from 3,200 to 53. And what you're doing when you put quotation marks around production manager is you're saying, look for instances where production and manager appear together. And you're also saying, I want only jobs that have that as a job title. So in the previous search, the way you did it with, or the way that example shows, production manager, it's pulling all the job openings up that have the word production anywhere in the posting and manager anywhere in the posting. So doing this, putting that as a job title and putting it in quotation marks is going to save you a ton of time and have you go through a far fewer number of postings to determine which ones are going to meet your criteria. So this is a huge tip to me if you didn't know that already. Facebook job leads. So if you're a Facebooker, you love Facebook, you're on it already, you may want to check out jobs on Facebook. Same kind of thing where you can type in location and industry and that kind of thing. You can also put on here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, oops, wrong way. Get notified about new job openings, kind of there off to the right near the bottom. And so you can subscribe to Facebook job openings. This is another way where you can use technology to help you be more efficient. And where you can sign up for notifications will keep you from having to go out to Facebook multiple times a day to see if there are any new openings that you missed since 8 a.m. So subscribing to job listings with your search criteria, not only on Facebook, but some other sites that I'll show you in just a moment, will save you a ton of time. And it'll keep you informed so that you can be one of the early applicants, which is kind of nice. Job posting, company job posting. So on Facebook, a lot of companies are pretty involved in social media. They'll oftentimes have a Twitter page, a Facebook page, sometimes an Instagram page, and it's a good way to get to know the company outside of just their website. And it also provides an opportunity potentially for you to sign up for job alerts through them as well. So on the Zappos one specifically, they have a Work For Us tab, and then you can enter what job titles you would be interested in, and then it will send you an alert and let you know when that opening comes up, and so you can be one of the first to know. So take advantage of those as well. LinkedIn. So a couple things to think about with LinkedIn. They do have job openings there. You can type in financial analyst in Houston, Texas, and that's going to pull up 383 results. A little bit less than the 3,200 on Indeed, but still an awful lot. So you see that first listing there is with a pharmaceutical company in Texas, and you think, oh, I don't want to work for a pharmaceutical company. So you put in the search, financial analyst, not pharma. So then that one goes away. So if you know some industries you don't want to work with, or some industries that you want to stay away from, you can add that into your search criteria in order to, again, to manage your searches and make sure you're getting specifically what you want and what you're looking for. If you say to yourself, I could be either a financial analyst or a business analyst, either one would work for me, put those in if you'd like and see what happens. This one generates 938 results, which is a lot. But it does give you that flexibility if that's something that you're still trying to decide between. You've done both types of jobs. You could do them equally as well. And so you're agnostic to it and you don't really care. So you could put both of those in there. If you're wanting something that allows you to do both, so you want a job where you have business analyst responsibilities as well as financial analyst responsibilities, then you use the word and you're going to come up with jobs that have both in there. And so you'll notice that the search criteria there generated 103 results, which is far fewer. So think about what you put in your search criteria and be mindful about it. Doesn't mean you can't play around with it, but I think knowing that these tools are out there and really make a difference in terms of your efficiency as you're out there looking for jobs, and helps you to really target what you're after. Rather than kind of floundering around and hoping for the best. Using these search techniques should help you quite a bit. All right, and you can also sign up for search alerts with LinkedIn. So you can see that big blue bar there, kind of middle way down on the left, create search alert. So again, using technology to help you do your job so that you're not going out on LinkedIn 5 times a day to see if there's any new postings that might appeal to you. Set up a search alert and let the technology do the work for you. So on your own LinkedIn page, think about job titles that you're considering. This is a pretty long list. It's probably going to get a lot of hits, but being thoughtful about what you have out there will really make a difference in terms of the notifications that you get. Thinking about which industries you prefer to be in. If you really don't want part-time work, don't check it. If you have to have full-time work, stay true to yourself and say, I want a full-time job. So just, be real thoughtful and real strategic about the things that you check and the things that you mark on the LinkedIn pages or any of your search criteria, so that you're not wasting your time and recruiters' time. There's been times when I've interviewed candidates who said that they were interested in part-time and got them into an interview and had a pretty serious conversation about the position. And then at the end of the interview, they admitted that in actual fact, they really do prefer to have full-time work. So they wasted their time and certainly my time in talking to them about a part-time position that has no possibility of going full-time in the immediate future. So be strategic and thoughtful. Think about not wasting other people's time nor your time for a position that you really don't want or would satisfy your needs. Following companies, certainly this is another social media thing. So you could set that up as an alert and you can get pushes to get information about the company. So in this example, they've decided to follow Next Job. That might be a good thing because it again gets you in on the ground floor for breaking information. So if Next Job announces that they're getting ready to expand and you think, oh, if they're getting ready to expand, surely that means they're going to have additional staff, then you can make connections early on in that stage to say, I'm interested in being a part of the team. I'd like to be considered for an opening in this area. Please keep me in mind, kind of thing. So this helps you get ahead of the curve a little bit before jobs get posted when you follow a company and you can get their alerts and their postings. If you went to school post high school, there may be a good reason to connect with alumni. So looking again on LinkedIn, a lot of universities have their own pages. So connecting with alumni and even following the university if you wanted to, that can be a good way to get some of your networking going. And connecting with alumni to say, you know, where do you live? And then maybe making those personal connections, because I can certainly attest to myself, I'd be happy to talk to someone who went to my college who maybe is looking to get into a career field that I've pursued in the past and give them tips and bits of advice. So people who have gone to the same places and share some same experiences will often help out one another. So consider using alumni if that's something that's available to you. Again, online communities, employer online communities. So I showed you earlier, Zappos had their own page on Facebook where you can follow them or get job alerts, but they also have this employer online community that does a little bit of the same thing. So if you're not on Facebook, don't worry. You can connect with an organization through their own job board online. You'll often find this with larger organizations. City of Fishers had a what was it called? Job alerts, and you could sign up for them. And so you go to the City of Fishers webpage, and there's a place where you can connect with the City of Fishers. And one of the things was to get notifications on jobs. And then you would tell us which jobs do you want to hear about. So if you want a full-time administrative job, every job that we ever posted that met that criteria, an email blast went out to people who signed up for those alerts. So Zappos does that as well, and a lot of other organizations do too. So again, this kind of gets you in the know, allows you to be more strategic to really target those organizations that you have hopes of working for, and getting information about an opening pretty quickly. And again, allows you to be one of the first to apply for a job with them. So I'd absolutely consider doing that. Because it is just a nice way, and it demonstrates your interest level. When you get a candidate who's strategic and thoughtful in their job search, it shows that they really are interested in working for you. And recruiters and hiring managers like to hire people who want to work for them. And so when you're signing up for their, in this example, employer online community or a Zappos Insider, to me, that says you really are interested, and you really do find what we have to be a cool thing. So it's more than just utilizing technology to help you. It's really connecting and showing interest in the organization. So I certainly recommend that you do that. Okay, I'm going to get a drink of water. I'm a little parched today. Okay, so job boards. Job boards are obviously one of the main reasons that people get on and look for jobs, or that's the main place that they go. Indeed is that prime example. But what are some of the problems with the job board? So sometimes the posting may not be current. They just haven't taken it down yet. And so you've wasted your time reading the posting, contacting the recruiter, or sending in your application, and the position's been filled. Or, you know, maybe you read the posting on Indeed, it's been filled, but you get to the employer's website and it's not there, so it's been filled. So understand that not always job boards have current openings. They don't always get pulled down when they should. People could be fishing, looking for available talent. So it may not be a real opening. They may just be trying to see if they can get your interest and then connect with you, and then see if you would consider working for them for a job that you would never apply for intentionally. Understand that recruiters may only pull the first 20 resumes or applications that they get to review, and your application number 26. That's a cold hard fact that sometimes recruiters do use those tactics. And I can tell you that today, with as many people who are as many people that are unemployed today, there's going to be a lot of applications for recruiters to go through. So understand that there's a finite number that can be reviewed. So it may be a quantity thing, it may be a timing thing. You may not be using the correct keywords, like we talked about in the search engine part. So you need to be careful about that and understand you're going to get some stuff that you may not really had intended to look at. And there could be some scammers out there drilling for your identity or try to sell you services, whether it's resume writing or something of that nature. So understand that unfortunately that stuff exists, and just be aware of it. And doesn't mean that you necessarily go away from job boards, but kind of go on to job boards with eyes wide open, understanding what the problems are associated with them. Okay, hidden market. Talked about that at the beginning of the presentation. So what is a hidden job market? The hidden market is job openings that you don't see on job boards. And so how do those get filled? This example shows that nearly 60% of jobs are found on the hidden market, and that's a pretty high number. Typically, they're filled from internal options. So at the City of Fishers, we would often post a job internally and allow employees to apply for it before we notified external candidates about an opening. So internal applicants only would apply for a hidden job. Employee referrals. It is true that finding candidates to apply for jobs is very time consuming and lengthy. And so some employers might just use employee referrals to get in new people. It's a nice way to know that someone that works for you knows of someone. They've kind of done that research on that candidate for you. So employee referrals are sometimes a way for people to get hired. A social media connection. So again, we talked very early on in the presentation too about casting your net pretty wide and making sure that a lot of people know that you're looking for a job and that they can help you in that job search. So social media connection might be able to get you a job through the hidden market. An individual networking connection, and candidates who reach out early. So these are all ways that folks can tap into the hidden job market. So just kind of an anecdotal story. There's been times when I was with the City of Fishers and we were struggling trying to fill a position. I would reach out to other HR directors that I knew and say, man, I'm having a heck of a time getting applicants for this position. Do you know of anyone? So that's why it's good to kind of get your name out there and get well known. And because you never know when someone might know of a position, either through a referral, through a connection, or what have you. So it's really important to make those connections out there. Okay, stages of a job opportunity. So there are 4 stages of the job opportunity, and the first 3 stages are part of that hidden job market. So stage 1 is maybe, when I mentioned getting alerts about an organization. A company plans to expand, or they're going to be a new startup. They're not yet hiring, but you might want to contact the company to express interest. Hey, I heard on the news tonight that you're looking to open another location on the east side. I'd love to be a part of that if there's an opportunity for that. So you're getting in early, you're making your interest known, and you're being proactive, and you're demonstrating your interest in the organization by not laying back and waiting for an opening, but to again express your interest early. Stage 2, there's a need, but it's not yet acted on. So someone's leaving, but the boss doesn't know, or something is about to happen. Again, have your name kind of already in the back of their mind or what have you before the opening is really demonstrated or shows itself. Stage 3, gaining an inside track by meeting with contacts like HR, and referrals and applications are sought or welcome. So the job is opening and pending, but not yet advertised. So we kind of all know in the organization that, yeah, this opening is coming. Somebody's just turned in their resignation, perhaps. We know they're going to be with us for another couple of weeks. We haven't drafted another job posting, and you've made contact because you either knew that person or you just want to make the HR person aware of your interest in working for them. Stage 4, this is when the position has been advertised. And so the other thing to think about stage 4 is there's a lot of positions that are being posted there, but by this point, there are a ton of people already looking at the opening. And so your competition goes up exponentially. So when you can get in on the earlier stages of a possible opening, the competition is a lot lower. And then it just saves the organization time and going through the process of posting a job and interviewing and that kind of thing. So that's the stages of a job opening, and you can see where the different positions are sometimes filled depending on the stages. 3 methods of job lead development. So locating the jobs that are available and advertised now. So that's again going to the job boards. Cultivating jobs that are coming soon. You find those through your networking opportunities. And then creating jobs. And those are the jobs where you're deciding that you're going to be self-employed or you personally develop the position yourself. So, and when I talk about personally develop the position yourself, what I mean by that is you've contacted an organization, you've said, I've got this ability to be able to really market the heck out of your organization. And I know that my skills would be able to increase your sales. They never had a marketing person before, but you tell them the need that they have and what you can do for them. So that's personally developing a position. A little harder to do. You shouldn't spend a whole lot of time trying to do that. There's not a lot of jobs filled on that side of things. Probably shouldn't spend much more than 10 or 15% of your time on that. The majority of your time should be spent on networking and then obviously pursuing the jobs that are open now. So why don't employers post all their jobs? And some of these are kind of sad to admit, and I've been in the boat for some of them. Sometimes you're just too dang busy to write a job ad. And I know that's true. I would often try to find other folks on the HR team to help me write a job ad because it's time consuming to make sure you've got the right stuff in there to be able to attract the people that you want to apply. Maybe you just don't want to spend the money. As I said, job boards like Monster, they charge a lot. And way back in the day when we used to list jobs in the classified ads of the Indy Star, a Sunday ad could run $800 or $900. And for a budget like the city of Fishers has, that's no small potato. So sometimes it's a money thing. No time for lengthy hiring or interview process. And I've mentioned before, from the time a position is empty to the time it's full, could be 3 months. And so that's a lot of time. And if I want to spend the time talking to candidates, that could be whole days out of my calendar. So again, I may not want to do that. Hoping to find a trusted person through professional or personal networking. Again, having those connections to say, hey, I've worked with so-and-so before in the past. They're awesome. You can always count on them to be there for you, to pick up any slack. And they often offer terrific ideas. Those kinds of recommendations really go well. Maybe an organization doesn't know what they want. They know that they're floundering, they're short-staffed, but they don't really know what they want. And that speaks to personally developing a position as you help them identify what they want and why you'd be the one to fill that need. Or maybe they're just not in a big hurry. They're going into a slow season, and so they think they'll just buy the time, and they just take a pause on that. Tapping into the hidden job market through networking, building the relationships first. So it's not always selling yourself. It may be just offering to be helpful and showing interest, and then just getting your name out there. So it's not out there begging for a job necessarily. It's out there developing a relationship and getting them to know who you are and what you can offer. Building your reputation and making a great impression. Again, talking again about that personal branding. So making sure that who you are as a person professionally is demonstrated, like on your LinkedIn page, maybe even your Facebook page, and you're showing that you're making connections that make sense. You're posting articles that demonstrate your currentness with your profession. So those kinds of things all speak to your branding. Laying the groundwork for future conversations, adding value and identifying mutually beneficial ways to create a future value, and then becoming visible with a purpose. So again, it's not all just out there saying, hey, knock, 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 I'm looking for a job. Will you hire me? These are some other ways to make those conversations, knowing that it may be a long-term thing before you get something. Identify your network. There's 2 types of network, your current, your future. So examples of people to target, obviously the people you know. So everybody you know right now should know that you're looking for a job. the people you don't know yet, but the people that you're going to make introductions to, the people who can help you now, the people who can help you in the future, and the people you can help now, and the people you can help in the future. So these are all people that should be on your list of who you should target and make some connections with. Again, who's in your network? So as I said, all your family and friends should know that you're looking for a job. If you yourself are associated with a sports team or a family member is associated with a sports team, there's a big group of people that you can connect with. If you're involved in any social clubs, book club, oh goodness, I'm terrible about social clubs. That's not something I do. But if you're in any of those kinds of clubs, certainly connecting and making yourself known. Community groups, sometimes there's neighborhood watches, church, alumni, any of those are great personal networks. Professional work network would be your past and your current coworkers, any industry professionals, and online and offline groups. If you're struggling, you might want to check out Meetup or a volunteer match, and that'd be another good way to connect with people. Again, it's just making your network bigger and bigger and connecting. Identify target companies by criteria. So build a target employer list. I think we've talked about that in the past too. So identifying who it is that you want to work for, thinking about if there's geographic limitations, and then thinking about who you want to work for, and then find people connected to the target organizations using your existing network. But then I highly recommend getting it in through LinkedIn and making the connections through LinkedIn. And if there's any professional associations with the industry that you want to work in, see if that's something that you can be a part of if you aren't already. If you are a part of it, be more visible. Whether it's volunteering, being an officer, somehow getting more involved on a professional association can really help you too. Actively networking, two types, direct and indirect. So direct is asking for the connection, right? And making introductions and targeting people. The indirect is having the active, visible, and credible presence. So the online and in person. So as I said early on, my LinkedIn page looks like I'm dead. So if I was to look for a job, that would be my first stop, is to go to LinkedIn so that I have an active, credible presence, that it shows that I'm involved in human resources, I'm staying current with what the current trends are, and I've got my certifications updated and those kinds of things. That's an indirect networking. And then bringing value to your network and your community through sharing and other contributions, whether that's, again, posting articles or sharing information that can help others. Making contact. Network connections are made with people you know well, people you've met recently, people you don't know but have been referred to, and people you don't know at all. 3 types of connections: making contact to learn and get to know someone, making contact to request referrals, and then making contact to discuss opportunities. So if you don't feel comfortable asking for a job, maybe you just ask them for help with which direction to go, or referrals for other places to look, and just, again, trying to get your net cast as wide as possible. I need to hustle along here. 6 steps to conducting an online search: identifying your target, building a credible online presence, which we've talked about multiple times, create content for the job search tools. Again, make sure that your resume is applicant tracking system friendly. I know we've talked about that in some other presentations, and if you have questions about that, let me know or let Tiffany know. Select a manageable number of online tools to focus on. You can really get into a rabbit hole, go into all these different places. So pick ones that work for you, that you like, that you can manage, and stick to just a select number of them. Use online tools to find jobs, organizations, and people, and use it to connect. So again, using those job alerts will help you be more efficient with your time. Final tips: integrate your online job board search with other tools. So if you only use job boards like Indeed, that's one way to look for a job. But if you add other layers, that's going to help you to, again, get more options that are out there. So if you use job boards and a company's website and LinkedIn, you're going to get important contact information. If you use job posting boards on Facebook, you might find a friend that already works at that organization, and what can they do to help you make that connection. Or if you use a job board and you're looking at a relevant blog or a message board, it gives you a heads up that there's something timely about to happen with that organization. Okay, so hustle to the end and with a little bit of time left for any kinds of questions that you might have. But as I promised, there is the access code for the Next Job website. So again, it's a free tool that you can check into, and this would be the access code to do that. So I'll stop my super fast talking and see if you have any questions, Nadia.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm okay. I was thinking I was on mute. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I understood very well. The presentation was very good, particularly how to work and to choose from remote or select exactly what I'm looking for. So it was useful. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good. Good. Okay.
Awesome. Well, I'll send this out to you tomorrow morning, Nadia, when I get into work, so you have the PowerPoint as well for your records.
Fantastic. Yes, it's much better. So it will be easier to go through what Cici told us. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for participating. Sorry that it was just you tonight, but I appreciate you getting on.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I was lucky in some way. I'm so sorry for Cici that she talked. But, I mean, I was happy, actually. I was lucky in some way. Thank you so much.